thought I would make a quick video about how I've made the skirting boards go around these corners. So as you can see on these walls there is a bullnose corner which it's basically been formed by, you know, there's plasterboard here, and I've cut the plasterboard short by about 2 inches, probably about 50 mil either side, and then I've just rounded it with bonding plaster and then skimmed over the top. So it created a problem for, or I should say it created a challenge for attaching skirting board. So this is wooden, solid wood skirting board. It's not MDF or anything. It's just that I've painted it before I've installed it. So in order to get it round these corners, obviously they're 90-degree corners and wood doesn't really bend round corners very well. So what I've had to do is I've had to put lots of cuts in the back of the timber, which has allowed it to bend. So here's an example of what I've done. So as you can see, by weakening the back of the board, it allows it to bend. So the cuts have gone almost all the way through. They're not quite through. This one wasn't great actually. This one's actually split. You can see it's split here, so I haven't gone quite far enough through on this one. I should really have gone through and just left maybe probably about a 2 mil of the timber left. That's what it looks like on the other side. Obviously that's because of the profile of the skirting board, so you know, in order to leave 2 mil on the main face of the skirting board, it actually goes all the way through on the profile section. So it has worked. It took quite a bit of experimenting with what depth to go for, but as you can see, it has allowed me to get around these corners. This one was a really tricky one to do because obviously it's a double. But yeah, it's worked. So that's all you have to do really. I'm no expert, I'm no joiner, but I've managed to get them round just by weakening the board at the back. So I've just gone through with a chop saw and yeah, stuck them on with you know, adhesive, the sticks-like adhesive, Evo-Sticks-like adhesive. And what I will do now is I'll get a decent quality wood filler and I'll filler all these sections. So obviously you can't leave it like that. So I'll filler them and try and maintain the profile of the skirting board and sand it off, and then I'll just give the whole of the skirting board another coat of paint and that'll finish it off. These, incidentally, these spacers, I've put these spacers underneath, and they're just 1 mil spacers, and the reason I've done that is because obviously I've pre-painted these skirting boards, but they will need another coat of paint, and with these travertine tiles they're very absorbent, so if you get any paint on them I don't think you'd get it off very easily. So I've put these 1 mil spacers under just so I can slide a bit of newspaper under or something when I'm painting. You can see some of my joints aren't the best in the corners, so I'll be obviously having to filler those as well. I was quite surprised with the internal corners. Apparently you don't cut a 45-degree angle to join them. So this board has just gone on a full board with a 90-degree cut on the end, and this board has just been mitered into it. So apparently that's the way you do it on internal corners. These walls aren't the straightest, so some of them, that one's not too bad. I've got a reasonable join on that one. But yeah, any that are a bit iffy, I'll just filler them. And then, as I say, I've glued on most of the skirting boards, but with some of the walls, these ones are plasterboard walls, so they are pretty flat. and you know, they were okay to glue onto. But the like of this one under here, that's an existing line rendered wall or line plastered wall, and it's all over the place. So in order to get the skirting board on, I couldn't glue it because it's, you know, it's just so undulating. So I've screwed that one on. I actually had to cut out some of the timber on the back of the skirting board just to get it over some of the lumps, you know, because they were protruding so far. So I just had to kind of excavate the back of the board with the chop saw carefully, just by doing multiple cuts, much like I've done here, except yeah, I removed all of the, you know, if there was a bulge in the wall, say in this section, I just removed the timber, say at the bottom of the board, just so that the bulge could sit within the board, if that makes sense. And yeah, it's just allowed it to work a bit better, so that's okay. What other problems did I have? There's obviously going to be a door on this cupboard here, and there just wasn't really clearance for it with the skirting board there, so I've had to chamfer that off a little bit, again just with the chop saw, just to allow clearance so when the door opens it can get round and doesn't hit anything. So yeah, that's the skirting boarding pretty much done in here. It was the most complicated bit to do, hopefully. But yeah, it's been a good learning experience working out how to get around these corners. Right, so that's everything fillered now. This is the stuff I've been using. It's a 2-part wood filler by Ron Seal. It's really good actually. I've used it for years, and it's yeah, it sets rock solid. You've just got to be a bit careful because it gets all over the place, so don't be like me, wear some gloves. So I filled in all the corners. It's pretty rough at the minute, as you can see. So that will need sanding off, obviously. It might, you know, I might sand it off and then give it another coat of wood filler before I paint it, and then sand it again. But I'm pretty happy. You know, I think it's gonna be good enough when it's finished. I think it'll pretty much disappear. So I've also fillered the screw head holes, and now just onto sanding, refillering if necessary, and then painting, and it should be job done. Obviously, as I say, I'm not a joiner, so I'm not sure if this is the correct way to do this or if there's a better way. Maybe you can tell me in the comments if there was a way that would have been easier or that would have given a better finish, or just a standard way that joiners would do this, because I'm not sure.